I'm Praram Vadahar. Let's begin with the main stories. Government faces intense objection from lawmakers against the agreement forged with C.K. Rawat. Lawmakers of the ruling alliance also dissatisfied. Glossy promises made by ministers right after assuming office failed to get implemented. Majority of declarations confined to mere rhetoric. One Nepalese national killed as 157 died in the Ethiopian Airlines crash. Cause of the crash yet to be determined. And Manchester United suffered their first Premier League defeat under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, lose 2-0 away at Arsenal. Let us now begin with the latest national political update. As it is obvious that the government has faced questions on the agreement forged with C.K. Rawat from the opposition lawmakers, the government has been compelled to answer the lawmakers of the ruling coalition as well. However, the government has claimed that the agreement with the C.K. Rawat-led Alliance for Independent Madhesh is in line with strengthening national sovereignty, integrity and independence. Immediately after the beginning of the meeting of the House of Representatives yesterday, lawmakers of Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal announced their withdrawal of support to the government and raised questions regarding the agreement forged with C.K. Rawat. Main opposition Nepali Congress quickly echoed the voices and demanded clear answers on if an arrangement on holding referendum for a free Madhesh was reached with Rawat. Lawmakers of the ruling Nepal Communist Party also poured on the government. NCP lawmaker Bhim Raul expressed his discontentment, saying words against the sentiments of the constitution were used in the agreement. In reply, Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa said that the 11-point agreement with Rawat did not include referendum anywhere. Saying different opinions were being made on the agreement forged between the government and Rawat-led group in and outside of the parliament, Home Minister Thapa urged everyone to refrain from spreading rumors. He was of the opinion that the agreement should not be seen as a surrender from either the government or C.K. Rawat. Home Minister Thapa said that nobody has to doubt further, as he added that Rawat had committed to accept the constitution and not hurt the national sovereignty and integrity. Now moving on, it has already been a year since the ministers, excluding one of the current government, assumed office. There was a race among the ministers in declaring popular programs right after swearing in. However, a majority of such declarations made amidst a huge fervor never got materialized. On the day of assuming office, Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa had declared of putting an end to the syndicate prevalent in transport sector, controlling crime and taking actions against those guilty in delay of development projects. However, his promises and assurances have not led to any strong consequences. It was not just Home Minister Thapa, as implementation aspect of announcements from most of the ministers has been very weak. One among them is Federal Affairs and General Administration Minister Lal Babu Pandit's declaration for staff adjustment. Despite the lapse of 1 year since Pandit assuming his office, the complications in staff adjustment remain to be resolved. Neither did Minister Pandit formulate laws within the deadline he himself had set, nor the adjustment was concluded. Whether it be Industry, Commerce and Supplies Minister Matrika Yadav's assurance for resuming operation of shut industries under government ownership and making regular the market monitoring, or Education Minister Giriraj Mani Pokhrel's claim of making drastic changes in education sector with introduction of new curriculum, these promises have merely remained as promises. Education Minister Pokhrel was compelled to step back after he was involved in the dispute related to new curriculum. Physical Infrastructure and Transport Minister Raghuveer Mahaset was shown the weakest in the budget expenditure by a report sanctioned by the Prime Minister's office and has been alleged of favoring syndicate. Agriculture Minister Chakrapani Khanal had promised of widely transforming the agriculture sector. Drinking Water Minister Bina Magar had even set the deadline for Melamchi water reaching Kathmandu taps. Padma Aryal had promised of drastic changes in science and technology. In quite a sharp contrast, all of these ministers' plans and declarations have yet to materialize. The question that remains unanswered is regarding airing of big promises but failure in implementation. Distance is created between the government and public when the promises and projects of a stable and strong government itself are not implemented. This is also why the ministers should speak about projects that are feasible and practical in the place of making popular announcements that will never materialize under various pretexts. 3,000 farmers are involved in poultry farming in Makwanpur with a total investment of 6 billion rupees. However, there is not a single laboratory in the district for the assessment of diseases that are seen in birds. Kulprasad Solagai of Eroda 7, Nagswati began poultry farming with 6,000 birds at an investment of 8 million rupees. However, all birds died in the first year itself because of diseases including H9. Around 15,000 birds have already died in Makwanpur this year alone. The farmers have suffered 10 million rupees in losses. Makwanpur does not have a single laboratory to study, research and assess diseases that are seen in birds. The farmers have no alternatives to take their birds to Chitwan or Kathmandu when they fall ill. It is the responsibility of the government to protect the investment of the farmers by providing aid and soft loans, and also to motivate the farmers to increase their productivity. It is imperative for the government to consider the issue with genuine concern, as the farmers are at loss because of the difficulty in availability of veterinary doctors and laboratories. It is now time for the international news. An Ethiopian Airlines jet crashed yesterday shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa, killing all on board. One of the deceased in the plane crash has been reported to be a Nepalese citizen identified as Ekta Adhikari from Gorkha district. The airline said 149 passengers and 8 crew members were on flight ET302 from the Ethiopian capital to Nairobi in Kenya. It said 32 Kenyans, 18 Canadians, 8 Americans and 7 British nationals were among the passengers. The crash happened at 8:44 local time yesterday, 6 minutes after the months-old Boeing 737 MAX 8 took off. It is not yet clear what caused the accident. The aircraft had 1 passenger each from Belgium, Indonesia, Somalia, Norway, Serbia, Togo, Mozambique, Rwanda, Sudan, Uganda and Yemen. Meanwhile, China grounded its entire domestic fleet of Boeing 737 MAX planes after one of them crashed in Africa, as scrutiny intensifies on the US manufacturer's best-selling jet. The country's aviation regulator issued the order after Ethiopian Airlines flight ET302 plunged to the ground minutes after leaving Addis Ababa en route to Nairobi, Kenya, killing all 157 people on board. It was the second crash in 5 months involving a 737 MAX 8, the newest version of the plane. Chinese carriers account for about 20% of the plane sales, with dozens of Boeing 737 MAX jets already in operation and many more scheduled for delivery. China Southern Airlines Company has the biggest fleet with 16 of the latest aircraft, while Air China Limited currently operates 14 MAX jets. China Eastern Airlines Corp has 13 US plane maker Boeing faces questions after an Ethiopian Airlines 737 crash on Sunday killed all 157 people on board. Comparisons are being drawn with a Lion Air accident last October, where the plane lost altitude soon after takeoff. The number of service seekers has drastically increased after the merger of Land Reform and Management Office with the Land Revenue Office. In this context, we would ask the service seekers at the office regarding their take on the service delivery. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
बिहानदेखि लाइन लागेर भित्र फाइल दियो, साँझ त्यो आफ्नै फाइल मात्र लग्यो, काम नहुने। अहिले छैन, भोलि छैन, पर्सि छैन, नि पर्सि। त्यस्तो अहिले जाँदैछ, अब 2 बजेपछि आउनु।
अनलाइनको सिस्टमबाट थोडा अलिकति शिकार हुनाले थोडा अलिकति टाइम लाग्यो।
कहिले फाटमा गछ, कहिले अर्को आयो, कहिले कलोनी आउनु भयो। अनि त्यस्तै गरेर अहिलेसम्म अब आउँदै फर्किँदै जाँदै गरेको छु।
सरकार पैसा दिएको छ हैन, त्यही पैसा पाउँदैछ भनेर आएको। धेरै दिन भइसक्यो, पैसा पाए छैन हामी।
एउटै काम गर्दा 2-3 चोटी बिगारिरा हुन्छ, त्यही सपार्न 2-3 घण्टा लगाइरा हुन्छ, त्यही भएर चाहिँ अलि ढिला भइरहेछ।
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what is your take on the appointment of constitutional office bearers without parliament hearing? Your options are A, wrong practice, B, incapability of parliamentary committees, and C, obvious outcome. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let us move on to the sports news.
Sports news.
Manchester United have suffered their first defeat at the English Premier League since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was appointed as their interim manager. Manchester United lost 2-0 away at Arsenal in the EPL match played last night. Granit Xhaka put Unai Emery's men ahead in the 12th minute. Prior to Arsenal's goal, Manchester United themselves were very close to scoring, but Romelu Lukaku's shot had deflected off the bar. Having fallen behind by a goal in the first half, Manchester United conceded the second in the 69th minute. Fred fouled Alexander Lacazette and Arsenal were awarded a penalty which was calmly converted by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. United then failed to return in the match. Elsewhere in the Premier League last night, Chelsea played a 1-1 draw against Wolves in the match played at Stamford Bridge. Raul Jimenez put the visitors ahead in the 56th minute, while a long-range shot from Eden Hazard salvaged a point for Manchester City's men in the extra time. Real Madrid have breathed a sigh of relief after securing a win against Real Valladolid in the Spanish La Liga. Los Blancos finally secured a 4-1 win against Valladolid after a series of poor performances across different tournaments. Valladolid found themselves ahead at their home ground, but Real Madrid came back strong to score 4 goals. Anwar Tuami put Valladolid ahead in the 29th minute. However, Los Blancos equalized through Rafael Varane in the 34th minute, while Karim Benzema scored a brace as he converted a penalty in the 51st minute and found the net 8 minutes later as well. Luka Modric scored in the 85th minute as Real Madrid sealed their 4-1 victory. Casemiro saw a red card in the 80th minute of the match. With the win, Real Madrid now have 51 points from 27 matches, while league leaders Barcelona have 63 points. Team Nepal will make it to the grounds with the objective of winning the SAF Women's Championship. Morale of the women's national team is also high as the tournament is being played in Nepal itself. Players and coaches are working their level best in training grounds to win the Women's SAF Championship, which kicks off tomorrow. India is a very strong team in South Asia. Bangladesh has also been doing good in women's football in recent time. At a time when other competitors are also progressing, Nepali players have been trained this time especially on their weaknesses following proper assessment of their opponents. Team Nepal is confident of winning the title as it has had adequate time for training and is content with the good teamwork. Coach Hari Khadka is confident of winning the title as the squad has a strong strike force, proper defensive line and fit players in an organized and balanced team. Nepal is contesting alongside India, Bangladesh, Maldives, Bhutan and Sri Lanka in the Women's SAF Championship, which will conclude on the 22nd of March. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Government faces intense objection from lawmakers against the agreement forged with CK Raut. Lawmakers of the ruling alliance also dissatisfied. Glossy promises made by ministers right after assuming office failed to get implemented. Majority of declarations confined to mere rhetoric. One Nepalese national killed as 157 died in the Ethiopian Airlines crash. Cause of the crash yet to be determined. And Manchester United suffered their first Premier League defeat under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, lose 2-0 away at Arsenal. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.